Hello, everybody. Corey Coleman here. Again, I am joining you in the middle of the day. And you know what that means? That usually means that we have someone who is an honor to speak to, someone we're very lucky to have as our guest. And that is the case today. Today, I am fortunate enough to be joined by someone who has had, I would say, an influence and has been a huge part of my life growing up. And whether you know it or not, he's been a huge part of yours. And yours, yes, even yours over there. I am joined today by, and I've been describing him like this all week, voice actor extraordinaire, Rob Paulsen. How are you, Rob?
Well, Corey, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I'm breathing and I'm not in jail, but the day's not over yet. So far, so good.
You never know. You never know. As you said, you're a busy man. You never know what happened.
Yeah.
The reason
this is a real pleasure. Really. Thank you.
I have to tell you, I've spoken to many people, Rob, and some people have been very kind and some people have been very curt. You, by far, just in the few seconds that we've spoken, you are one of the nicest people I've ever talked to.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you for lowering your standards. Look, I've got nothing about which not to be nice. I don't really quite understand, Corey, why what you described in terms of the difficult aspect of some folks, I don't understand why that's even an issue. When you're lucky enough to do something for American dollars that you used to get in trouble for in high school, and then nice people like you take the time to talk to us and put time aside to let us into your lives, and then give us a nice big welcome and a nice big buildup, and I'm sure you do that for everybody. And then they're difficult. Well, screw them. I mean, that's ridiculous. Then don't be interviewed. I get it. If you're not comfortable, then don't do it. I mean, this is a privilege. I've worked really hard for the privilege of being in a position in which nice people like you want to talk to me. So it's my great pleasure. Thank you.
No, you know what? I've often thought the same thing myself, and I do get it. People are busy. People have things to do.
Sure.
People have different personalities, but I really do. This already just really sets up a very comfortable tone for what I know is going to be an amazing discussion, because people, they've been asking me questions all week about you, because you have been such a part of their childhood, even their lives as they become adults.
Yes, well, it's pretty remarkable. A number of these shows. I've been way more fortunate than the average actor. Ninja Turtles alone, if you get a shot at something that becomes what it is, thank you. Wow, look at that. You win the lottery. I am continually sort of a perpetual showbiz lottery winner. And now to have people your age, younger, and even older than I, who still love these characters, and in the context of, say, Pinky and the Brain or Animaniacs, even love them more than when they came out 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. These are profoundly important characters, and I've learned that it's way more than a paycheck, Corey. You know, it's I think a lot of us who are able to make our living in a creative endeavor, and lucky enough to do it for 35, almost 40 years, and then still go to work every day, you're able to really see what an impact the characters, whether they're live action or animated, continue to have, whether it's traditional cinema or animation. Showbiz is showbiz, and the extent to which these characters connect with people is amazing to me, and especially as I get older. I'm constantly blown away. It's remarkable.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you why I'm so amazed by your demeanor, and not that I think it's right for people to have an ego, but if you did, I'd be like, okay, man, you earned it, you got it. You know what am I going to say?
Yeah, look, I've got an ego. Everybody has one, but I think it's in check. A large part of it is that I understand that it's the characters who are famous. It's not me, and that's not false modesty. I'm good at my job, but man, I don't write them, I don't draw them, and I can't even draw stick figures. And you got nothing. Any actor will tell you, you got nothing without a script. I'm very good at my job, but Jesus Christ, I should be. I've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
And I'm reaping the, I think, appropriate rewards for doing a good job. But people don't generally stand in line waiting for the next Rob Paulsen cartoon. That may change, and I hope it does, because everybody wants to be a star. But I have no false sort of ideas of where I am in the pantheon of Hollywood. I'm confident in myself. I have, I think, a healthy ego, but I also know that this is not the Rob Paulsen show. This is people like Pinky. They like Yakko. They like Raphael. They like Donatello. They like Carl Weezer. They like Arthur. They like, all these other characters. And many know it's me, thanks to nice people like you who take the time to chat with me and put my ugly mug up there on screen.
Get out of here, man.
but tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people know these characters, and they have no idea who I am, and that's fine. So I'm well aware that this is a deeply collaborative effort.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, so I would just differ with you on a small level there.
Okay.
In that you, to your credit, you are one of the hardest people to do research for, man, because it's just too much stuff. You have over 500 credits to you over your career. And, and like you said, a lot of people, they know, they might know you, or they might know the character, which you have done numerous of. And I have to say that you have done, just to put it out there and let people know, we see the cartoon characters here and the animation here, but you have done a mixture of both live action and animation within your career. And a lot of people, just to put that out there, what some of the characters you might know, as we said, it's anywhere from Transformers, Ninja Turtles, Raphael and the Ninja Turtles. But I mean, how can I even list all this stuff off? You'd have to go to his IMDb page, and believe me, you're going to spend a minute just scrolling on this guy's on his page. One of the characters that I do know that people love you for is Yakko from Animaniacs. And I'm going to ask you to do the voice, but here's Yakko, the character, the voice and the character.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic, Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador, too, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina, and Ecuador, Chile, Brazil.
People you've actually educated with your voice right there?
Yeah, well, thank you. And again, with all due respect to your kindness, the guy who really deserves the credit, well, there are several. Tom Ruger, who created Animaniacs, and in that circumstance, Randy Rogel, who wrote that song. Again, please understand this isn't false modesty, but you can walk down Hollywood Boulevard and throw a dart and hit a good singer. You can't throw a dart and hit somebody who can write that stuff. Randy Rogel wrote that. He wrote, "It's a great big universe and we're all really puny. We're just tiny little spags about the size of Mickey Rooney." And that's what happens. And now there are people all over the country watching your show now, doing exactly what you did. And that is the magic. All I have to do, it's like a superpower, man. All I have to do is say, "Nerve." And you do that. You just start to go, "Oh my God, it's Pinky, and he looks like an average white guy." Who the hell? But writing it is a different animal. And Randy Rogel wrote most of the songs people know from Animaniacs, including that one, and continues to write at a very high level. He was just working for Pixar and texted me yesterday on the show he was working on, writing music for the biggest of the big. And so it never stops. We're all grateful. That was a huge part of my life. Animaniacs was a show that absolutely changed my life because it allowed me to sing and act and create things on the spur of the moment. And it was a perfect opportunity a perfect example rather of opportunity meeting preparation, which results in luck, quote unquote. It's I'm the one who is the point person. I'm the one who nice people want to talk to, by and large. But that's a perfect example of me being good at my job. But it was only because I had that song to just knock the hell out of. I remember rehearsing it. And when I remember kind of singing it for my wife, and she said, "Oh my God, what is that?" And I said, "Yeah, this is nuts." And when it presents itself, and you've been around for 15, 20 years, and you go, "Oh my God, this is the pitch I've been waiting for," and it's right over the plate, and I'm just going to pound that bad boy right over the center field bleachers, and that's exactly what happened for a lot of us.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you talk about how, and yeah, I mean, of course, everybody do. It's a team effort to bring this kind of entertainment to life. Film, especially animation. It is a team effort. So not to not give the animators their credit or the writers their credit. Of course, they deserve it too. But man, you bring the personality there. And can I just say, and I'm sure people watching this, it just gave me chills to hear you do the voice right there.
Isn't that astonishing? And I believe you. And I know it's true because I hear it all the time. And it's happening more and more where people, I've been around a long time, so people start to recognize you and they hear your voice or recognize your name. And I promise you, Corey, it is the very best part of what I do, to be able to meet nice folks like yourself, other people all around the world, and be able to say, "Are you going to finish that croissant?" And
this is brilliant, man. I'm loving this.
I know. And I can talk like Carl all day. I don't even have to have a script, and people just kind of pee their pants, and it's the coolest thing in the world, man.
The chat is screaming right now. They're screaming, Carl!
And it's just remarkable. And I know that it's authentic in terms of your response because I've had it myself. I remember years ago working with Mel Blanc once or twice, and one time I got to chat with him a bit. He was pretty old. There he is right there with Mr. Letterman.
Yeah.
And I remember asking Mr. Blanc what people now ask me. They'll say, "Mr. Paulsen, if it's not too much trouble." And I said, "Mr. Blanc, if it's not too much trouble, would you?" And he knew what I wanted. And he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, what's up, Doc?" And it just flipped me out. So I totally get what you're talking about. And it transcends Mr. Blanc being an elderly person. It transcends me being a less elderly, but nonetheless older person. It's not about the way I look. It's about what happens when you hear, "Hey, God, Brian, what are we going to do tonight?" It just, it kills me. It's the greatest thing in the world. I love it.
There's so many people that I've talked to that I've had these feelings for when I've grown up watching them or I've followed them throughout their careers. I've been very fortunate in that situation to do that, and this is another situation here, man. To be here to hear that. You are a person that makes me feel like when I do this, I mean, I'm almost gonna cry. You make me feel like I'm one of the most fortunate people in the world to be able to experience this kind of thing.
Thank you. And I'm so grateful that you say that, because I've had the good fortune of experiencing the same type of feeling with folks who I grew up idolizing. And as a result of sort of this, idolizing, and then I get to know people whom I idolize, whether the sports folks, showbiz folk, music folk. And by and large, they're all really nice people. And then every now and then they step a little bit further in my sort of mental Rolodex of nice people, and they become a hero. And I've had that experience in which people who I idolize as a result of their talent or their, on the ice as kind of a hockey fan, or the gridiron, or on screen or records. Then I meet them and they're really special people, and then they become a hero of mine. And the truth is that there are people who have become heroes of mine who are not celebrities. I get to know them, and then I find what they're about and how they live their lives. And Mr. Spielberg is one of those people who's clearly a celebrity, but he's a gentleman who moves through his life with such kindness and grace, and his talent is unquestionable. He's the king of Hollywood. But that takes us back to the beginning of our conversation. When you get a chance to hang out, I don't bowl with him, but I've worked with him many times and continue to. And you see that when there are people who could behave in the way in which you suggested, like, look, you've accomplished a lot, and if you're kind of a bit of a diva, we understand, you've got the room to be that, we can be deferential. But they don't behave that way. They're kind. If you're scheduled to talk with them, you have their attention. It's not them looking at the watch. It's not them, their assistant coming and going, "Mr. Spielberg, you got to go." They take the time, and it's like, you got an hour. For that hour, I am yours. And So when I see people who could behave that way and they are delightful, then I shame on me if I behave in that way. And frankly, my mother would probably come back and slap me across the face again.
This is huge for me now. I'm older than probably a lot of the fans that talk to you, which is why because I look at you and I say, you know what? Because you're talking about your looks, you look damn good, man. I'll tell you that right now, because I was surprised to learn how your career began in, whether it be live action or animation, but you were around when I was a kid and when I was watching some of the cartoons that I grew up with. I was
sorry, I'm losing you.
Oh, can you hear me now? You okay? Hello?
Yep. There we go. Oh, there I am. Okay, yeah. You mean? I'm sorry. Now I got you.
Okay, I switched scenes right there.
Okay, you're about Snow Job?
Yes, I'm talking about Snow Job. From people when I was coming up, things like Transformers and G.I. Joe. A lot of people say they were commercials. A lot of people say that they were just there to sell toys. They did a really good job at it because all of us watched them, and I thought that they were cool. Yeah. So this is back in 1983 when you did a few voices on G.I. Joe. This is a clip where you played Snow Job.
We're down to two choices. Either we plow straight through them, or we let them run over us. Some choice. Joe!
Get him, Rob. Get him.
Right. I'm badass, man.
You are, man. Of course, you were the Snow Job is the guy with the coat on and the red beard right there.
That was the first cartoon I ever did. Was that one. That one and Transformers. That was 1983. And it was when I had been doing on-camera stuff and still was riding both sides of the fence, and I got the opportunity to audition for cartoons. Man, I just wanted to work. It wasn't like I was against doing anything. I liked to work. I was a singer first who became an actor and moved out to L.A. ostensibly to do live action. And then that opportunity arose, and I jumped on it because it was another chance to work. But I started getting more and more work in that realm, and it was great because the first thing I recognized when I walked into those sessions were many actors whom I recognized from doing traditional television growing, when I was growing up, and they were doing animation, and nobody was limited by their look. And when you're a non-celebrity talent, you're just another actor in Hollywood and you're trying to get work, you are immediately pigeonholed by the way you look, because that's how the casting breaks down. We're looking for, a Caucasian guy, 5'10", 165-ish pounds to play the boyfriend of this girl we've already cast. Yeah. That's the way it goes. But when you're not limited by that, that's fantastic. And it was the case 35 years ago. And it's the case now. I'm still unlimited by the way I look. I'm only limited by my skill and by the kindness of people that hire me, man. And it's great.
That's one of the things I want to ask you. That same year in 1983, now we're talking about, we're talking mostly about animation, but we also said that, you were working in live action. That same year in 1983, you were in a movie, a horror Western, I believe, called Eyes of Fire.
Right.
You know what? Let's look at a fresh-faced Rob Paulsen. There you go. Young Rob right there. So a lot of people see you sometimes in live action. Here's a quick scene from Eyes of Fire right here.
They burned Will's house.
Jewel, they're gonna hang him.
Let them.
Margaret, you don't understand.
Stay out of it, Jewel. It's a mistake. Don't get mixed up in his troubles. Jewel! What about...
No, Rob, don't go. Looking at this, man, and seeing how you started out both in that same year in animation doing G.I. Joe, and then because I know you did you did an animated movie or short before or show that you went uncredited for, but right before that.
What's that?
Well, you know what? Let's look at your IMDb page because
let's see what it is.
You are credited. Here we go. I mean, people, look at this. Look at this. You would spend all day going through this, but at the very bottom right there, you're credited for Dexter the Dragon and Bumble the Bear. You're the doctor in that English version of this.
Honest to God, I don't remember what that is. I don't. 1983. Gosh, I truly don't. I don't remember it. And people, I do a lot of conventions around the world, and it's always a wonderful opportunity to meet people, and then I go home exhausted. But I go home from 3 days exhausted from saying thank you. I mean, it's a great way to get tired out, because I get to say thank you all day. And very well-meaning people who are much younger than you will come up and, because of the new technology like we're experiencing now, IMDb, all of these things that are essentially forever if you're willing to go look for them, people come up and say, hey, what was it like working with, or how, remember that session that you did for, and I say, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I don't remember. It was 2,000 sessions ago, and I work every day almost. So I'm 63 years old now, which means I've been in LA for 40 years, and not every day, but many of those days I worked, and that's the result. The IMDb is the result. My IMDb page is a result of that. So I often I just cannot remember the things on which I've worked. But you know what? If they make you happy and they make you smile and you get a kick out of it, fair enough.
Yeah. I talked to Keith David not too long ago.
Oh, yeah.
And
what an actor he is.
Oh, he's amazing. Amazing. And you know what? He did the same. Speaking of a great voice. Yeah, I'm sure. Have you ever worked with Keith David before?
I have. I worked with him on Gargoyles.
Gargoyles, yeah.
I think I did maybe 3 or 4 episodes of Gargoyles. And yeah, man, you can hear that guy read the phone book. It'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's funny because there was a movie back in, I think the same year, 1983. I said, do you remember this movie? Nobody remembers 1983. I brought up a movie called Disco Godfather. And he was like, what the hell is that? He was almost mad about it. Disco Godfather. Yeah, he was like, I do not remember that. And at first I thought like, well, maybe you just don't want to remember. But apparently people like yourself and Keith David, you work so much that, you have such a long span, decades of work that you can forget sometimes.
Well, Keith and I are very lucky. We're both journeyman actors. I would say Keith is much more well-known than I am vis-a-vis his on-camera work, because he's done a lot of movies, and he should. He's he's a terrific actor. He's a very handsome fellow, and he has an incredible voice. He's got it all. But we are both, I would say, rank and file working actors, and very happy to be so. I think both of us could probably retire, but it's not like being Brad Pitt or Denzel Washington. We are in that nice sweet spot between being homeless and being a movie star. Where, we are actors who I would suggest have found a way to carve out a very nice living for ourselves. We are driven by the same Jones to work as we were when we were youngsters, and that is not hyperbole. I love to work. It satisfies my soul. It makes people happy. I now have, I would submit a fairly supportive fan base who goes out of their way, like you and your listeners and viewers rather, to hear what I have to say. Man, guys like Keith and I are incredibly fortunate. And moreover, if you know Keith, he's a delightful man, and we know how fortunate we are. So it's a real good, it works out for everybody.
It's funny because in the chat, some people are, let me see if I can even scroll over a little bit. I don't know if you can see it, but some people are like, they're saying, Rob is very handsome.
Thank you.
He looks very good.
Clearly, it must be something with Skype. I appreciate that. Listen, anybody out there that thinks I'm handsome, I thank you very much for that. I'm Yakko, and yet here I am tongue-tied. I don't know what to say. So thank you very much.
People are looking at this and like, damn, this guy was in everything I watched as a kid. Just for this person, were you in a show called Kablam?
I don't remember. Kablam, what is that?
Okay, maybe not, because they said he was in everything but that. And I was like, well, let's see if he was in that. Maybe he was.
I don't know. I could have been. Maybe Kablam is the sound of my career ending. I don't know, but I've never, I don't recall Kablam, but.
Yeah, but it could have been.
Yeah.
Speaking of your live action career, where we just, we were talking about that, and there are people. Now you talk about how people don't know you or your face. You have people online who are they are such fans and such followers of you. They have actually they're I don't know if you've seen this. there are videos, there are series online where it says,
Oh, yeah.
"Is that Rob Paulsen?" Where they just find you with, as being like almost like an extra, someone in the background. Here's one where you were in Spaceballs.
Yes. Look at that. Oh my God.
How about you?
That's that's
Not
me.
a thing, sir.
That's you.
Yeah. Well, that's my voice. Now, that was a movie on which I did what's called looping, which means that post-production voices were added to the movie to enhance certain scenes. One of which was that combing the desert scene. And what's remarkable about that, first of all, it's Mel Brooks. It's an iconic comedy. But what was cool for me is it was a great group of actors I got to work with, including Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman and I worked on that show together. And we had become really good buddies before Phil became Phil. And I have a great story in my book. I have a book called Voice Lessons. It just came out a couple months ago. And it's a great story about, there it is. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
About working with Phil. And I think it was Nancy Cartwright, who's Bart Simpson, and Tress MacNeille. And I think it was John Paragon, who's Jambi the Genie from Pee-wee. Bunch of us groundling folk worked on that project. And so you get to work with Mel Brooks and Phil Hartman and have great stories. And then years later, people say, "Oh my God, Rob Paulsen, is that you?" And in Spaceballs, and it is, and it's on my IMDb page, and it's on Phil's IMDb page, and makes for a great story. It's pretty cool being involved with things that you don't know 25 years in advance that they're going to become what they become.
Yeah, because and the way people find you, like who would have known that people would be like looking just for your voice in a movie like this? Also, is this you standing behind? That's not you. That's not you, is it?
No. In fact, I was not in any on-camera stuff in Spaceballs. It was just my voice. I think I worked on the show for 2 days doing post-production. But again, the best part of that whole experience was getting to work with Mr. Brooks and with this group of actors who became who they are. Nancy's Bart Simpson, for God's sake. And Phil, the late, great Phil Hartman, became an icon in his own right. Just with Saturday Night Live and all the other stuff. So these guys were, we were all there at the beginning. And it's a pretty remarkable experience to look back and say, well, these people are my friends. And they still are. Phil is unfortunately gone, but I talked to Nancy last week, and we're very close.
Looking at how you've gone from early on, how you've done live action and you would do animation or go do voice work. How did this start out? I mean, did you start out wanting to mainly do live action and then just got put into animation, or was that? Did you not mind either way? You were just looking to work.
Precisely. As I said earlier, I came to L.A. A fellow who was a singer, who became an actor, did a lot of live theater around the country, and that was I decided it was time to go play in the big kids pool in L.A. And I was doing episodic television, the occasional movie, as you've seen, and then probably 5-6 years into my life out here, I had the opportunity to audition for cartoons like any other audition. Commercials, TV and radio commercials, movies, television shows, theater, and it was just another chance to work. But what happens, I think, and as I said earlier, that adage about luck meeting preparation is, the idea is whatever you choose for your livelihood is that often people, whether it's a degree they receive in college or creating their own business or being an e-retailer, you have to put yourself in a space to get lucky. Being born in Detroit and being, as they say, pure Michigan, and proud of my roots in Detroit and Flint, Michigan, I'd pretty much done what I could do back there. And it wasn't like it was this mystical thing. Hollywood was mystical because it's Hollywood. But you get to a point where you say, well, if I'm as good as I think I am, ain't nobody going to find me back here.
Yeah.
And it's no slam on living in Ohio or Michigan or Oregon or Florida or Maine or Canada or anywhere. It's like, okay, well, for people who got, if I want to make this my career, but I have to be in a place where people can see me. And that's how you put yourself in a spot to get lucky. Luck, as I've learned, really is, in my case, a confluence of opportunity that you create from being in a place where there is opportunity, and then busting your ass to put yourself in a place where that opportunity presents itself, and you're ready with your chops. Does it mean you're going to nail it and that you're going to work on a show that becomes Animaniacs or Pinky and the Brain or Saturday Night Live or whatever? No, there are many people. My dear friend Tress MacNeille auditioned for Saturday Night Live twice and didn't get the job. But she is the most profoundly prodigious voice actress in the history of Hollywood. You look up Tress MacNeille's IMDb page, who you guys know as the crazy cat lady from The Simpsons, or Mom on Futurama, Dot Warner, or Babs Bunny, or over and over and over. You look her IMDb up. She never, hammered Saturday Night Live, but she hammered every other cartoon.
Yeah.
So it's not it's not to say that everything that you go for and every opportunity that presents itself, you're going to get really lucky and be a success, whatever that means. But you to give yourself the best shot, you have to get your chops in order and be in a place where people can give you that shot. And that's what I did. Now, times are different. We have YouTube, we have Skype, we have all these other opportunities, Stitcher, podcasts over and over and over again to ply your trade and to get out there and get lucky. But I still think to have a career and to last and to do it for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you have to maintain your relevancy, and you have to have an ego in which you're able to say, okay, man, I got to keep my chops up because there are young people coming in who are every bit as good or better, and they've been inspired by me. They like my work, and they are going, someday, I love you, Rob, and I'm a fan. Maybe even you're one of my heroes, but I'm gunning for you because I want that job. And that's exactly the way it should be. That is a compliment to me. It's not meant to knock me down. It's meant as a compliment. But if I want to stay relevant, it's my choice to say, I better keep up. Because there are great kids coming in who are every bit as good or better than I, and they're going to take what they've learned from me to a much bigger level. And there's a point at which I'll be able to say, okay, I'm done, but I'm not yet. So I take that as inspiration to keep doing it. And that's exactly the way it should be.
No, those are great words. I see people in the chat even talking about, man, that's inspiring me right now, what you just said. We've been talking about a lot of the, with the live action stuff, maybe that was more mature, but, we've been talking about a lot of the animation stuff that you've done, which is skewed more for family entertainment. How is it being known for family entertainment, and then having kids come up and say to you how cute these characters are, how great these characters are, and how family friendly you are, and then be remembered by somebody who says, you know what, man, I remember when you were in that rated R movie, Body Double, that I shouldn't have been watching as a kid.
Yeah. No, in fact,
Come shot. Come shot. I thought we were doing body talk here, not last tank.
That was great.
Yeah, you're the camera guy and Body Double right there. How is it flip-flopping from like talking to kids about all these nice characters and then, having to talk about some of the, having to talk to an adult about some of the more mature stuff that you've done?
Well, that's another example of an opportunity to work. I was 27, 28 years old in that shot, in that movie. And I remember going to audition for, it was directed by
Brian De Palma?
Brian De Palma. It's a big deal. Brian De Palma directed Scarface. He directed, the one with Angie Dickinson. He directed Carrie, the original Carrie. I mean, look up Brian De Palma's in that, in that group of directors with Steven Spielberg and and Francis Ford Coppola and Martin Scorsese. They're all film school graduates at the same time. So getting to work with Brian De Palma, whose movie just before that was Scarface. And I went to read. I got home, and there was a voice message on my machine from my agent saying, Brian De Palma loved you. They're not going to use you for the character that they auditioned you for, but he's got something else, and it's 2 or 3 days work, and off you go. And I didn't care what it was. I knew the kind of outline of the story, and I got there, and it was this cameraman in a porno movie shoot. And I was in, could I have turned it down? Of course. Would I have had? No. I had to work, and I wanted to work. And years later, it's been a lovely thing about which to chat, because I even had an experience in which when my son was 15 or 16 years old and he had a bunch of buddies over watching the TV I'm sitting in front of where it used to be right now, came into, I was sleeping. He said, Dad, were you in a movie called Body Double? And I did that. I did what you're doing now. I said, yep. And he said, oh my God, you guys, it was my dad.
It's funny he recognized you so young, too.
Look, man, you have to accept the good with the questionable. I own it all, and I'm happy to talk about all of it.
Yeah, and by the way, I didn't mean that as being questionable. I like Body Double. It
was a pretty good movie. I mean, it's Craig Wasson and Melanie Griffith. It was remarkable, and that gentleman who you saw me with in that shot there played a really interesting part in Scarface. That actor, forgive me, I don't remember his name, but he played a chainsaw, sort of a mob chainsaw murderer in Scarface.
Oh yeah, he's the one that sawed the guy in half in the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh my God, what an intense scene, right? So anyway, we did not know about the IMDb or YouTube or any of this stuff at that time, and that it would come back to haunt you. But I don't look at it that way. I look at it as an example of something else that I can talk about. I was grateful for the job. I'm always grateful for the job. Every now and then people say, oh my God, Rob, you were in this thing called ... I'll bet that was, I bet you wish you'd never done that. Dude, if I took a paycheck and I cashed it, I got nothing to bitch about.
Yeah.
Universal Studios gave me money. They fed me. Brian De Palma let me in his movie. I was grateful for that opportunity. My son was coming along. I got to buy baby food. I got to buy diapers.
Yeah.
I didn't have to sell cars that month. Are you kidding me? Man, I'm everything that I have in my life. Dog food, dental glasses, toilet paper is paid for with showbiz money. Money I earned doing something that I would have done for free if I were a banker and I was living somewhere else and I got to work, in theater on the weekends. And it's nothing against bankers. I'm just saying I earn my son's college, gas in my cars, my motorcycles, golf balls, shoes. The money I spend to heat and cool my home is paid for with money I earn doing something that I love just for the sake of how it makes my soul happy. Dude, I won the lottery, and I know it. There's no pretense here. This is a glorious thing that I've gotten to do. And then I get to speak with nice young people like you and the folks watching you. And I'm not special. The way I make my living is kind of special, but I know how lucky I am. And I'm not quitting. And then I had throat cancer 3 years ago, and I'm okay. But now I have an opportunity to talk about throat cancer in the context of someone who is the voice of your childhood. And I know that's not hyperbole. There are people, yourself included, who would say me, Tom Kenny, Tress MacNeille, Nancy Cartwright, Maurice LaMarche, Frank Welker, Peter Cullen, Hank Azaria, Harry, we're all the voices of Danny Castellaneta. We're the voices of your childhood. Seth MacFarlane, and we really are. But now I can talk about throat cancer with authority, with empathy, and I'm still working every day. So now I have an opportunity because of what could have been construed as like, holy shit, Rob Paulsen got throat cancer. So what, man? You guys know people that have cancer. Why not me? And I'm not a hero, but now I can talk about my cancer and say, and I'm back doing all these fantastic shows, even after stage 3 throat cancer, even after lots of radiation, even after chemotherapy and all of that stuff. So now I don't know when, as a result of your kindness, there might be somebody watching this who's going to be inspired to get through their own shit. Mm-hmm. And everybody has it. Everybody gets dinged. Everybody doesn't get out of here without a couple of scratches. So it's my turn to tell that story, and you are giving me the opportunity. So it works out really well for everybody, you know?
No, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you, not only your humbleness, but just being aware. You know, a lot of people, they take that for granted, and clearly you don't. And I think it's great for people to see that.
And thank you very much for telling me that, because I don't. And again, look, nobody's perfect, myself included. The difference is, I think that I had a set of parents and a wonderful spouse and a wonderful son and fantastic people with whom I work, who all get it. Maurice LaMarche is like this. Frank Welker is like this.
Two things happened. And let me make sure that I have this. Two things happened real quick. One, I noticed that the computer froze. I don't know what happened. I'm looking at this right now to see where we ended. Hold on.
Has it. Everybody gets dinged. Everybody doesn't get out of here without a couple of scratches.
So we did. We got most of that. We got most of that interview right there. Listen, what happened was the computer, it froze, and also Rob had to go to work. He's got he's going to go do some voice work. If you were watching the interview, I apologize for what happened. In fact, let me bring up the chat here so I can see what you guys are talking about. But yeah, we are back. But unfortunately, Rob is not back. But Rob said he will be back. This guy is so kind, man. This guy is so nice. Rob Paulsen. Let me go ahead and pull up where he is right now. This is the interview that we were doing. You don't want to see my face. There he is right there. If you were listening to the interview, this is voice acting legend Rob Paulsen, who has done so many voices, and I'm sure is a part of all of your childhoods out there. There he is doing with all the voices that he's done. But let me tell you what happened here. Rob said that he would be back. He has to go to work. The computer stopped, but he had such a great time talking that he said that he will be back. He will return to do another interview. He'll finish this off, and I think, man, that is very cool of him to do that. That is amazing that he would even offer to do that. So what we're gonna do is, let me see here. Hold on, let me bring up my dashboard. Hold on for a second, you guys. And let me go ahead and bring up the chat here so I can see you guys talking. But yeah, he said he had a great time, and we're going to reschedule. We're going to reschedule for next week, maybe next week sometime. So I'm sorry if I didn't get to your questions. I'm sorry if I wasn't able to, finish the interview and it cut off in some weird space. My apologies on that. But he said that he will be back. He said that we'll do a part 2. We'll have another long discussion, and he really enjoyed not only talking to myself, but he really appreciated all the love that you guys were giving him. That's very kind of you. Very kind of you guys.